Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the most magical podcast in the Midwest, the Magic in the Midwest podcast, starring USA Today best-selling author J.B. Michaels and his more successful wife, Ashley Michaels. And now, your hosts. Hey, thank you, announcer. Thank you so much. He is the announcer. Ash.
He is.
I think I'm starting to finally get it.
Wow.
Yes. Yes, he is the
Quicker than
announcer. Right. Yes, and this is Magic in the Midwest podcast number 50, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah. 50. 50. The big 50.
Good for us.
I know. Look at that.
I mean, we're kind of great. I'm great.
Guys, we've consistently, I think we missed 1 week because Ashley has poor health. But other than that, like,
It was a
but we had to,
dentist- dental
make
problem.
it up. Right. And those problems are still not finished.
Yeah. The saga continues.
The saga definitely continues on that front. So ladies and gents, we're going to talk about lots of things to talk about today. But first, let's do a little housekeeping action. I'm a USA Today bestselling author. My latest book was The Festival of the Vine, which was a Mac and Millie mystery, which is a cozy mystery. That came out in September. So I am going to be ramping back up shortly, probably this week, coming up to actually get working on the 7th book in the Chronicles of the Order series. See, I kind of write a myriad of different genres, cozy mysteries, thrillers, action
You
adventures.
sounded like Jeff Goldblum there.
I did watch Thor Ragnarok, so maybe there's a little bit of that Jeff Goldblum action happening. So guys, if you want some fun cozy mysteries or really fun, thrilling action adventures with monsters, like the classic monsters in it, like Frankenstein, the Wolfman, and Dracula, those books, the Chronicles of the Order, kind of are my homage to that huge part of my childhood that my grandparents imbued in me. They introduced me to all those awesome old monster movies. So definitely check out the books, MrMichaels.com or Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, wherever you want to buy some books. And then, Ash, the podcast is also supported by Bandcamp. So thank you to our Bandcamp subscribers. Magic in the Midwest podcast.bandcamp.com. Is a place where you guys, for $3 an entire month, entire month, or more, 3 or more.
3 plus.
Yeah, you can support the podcast. It does cost money to produce the podcast and, just kind of keep it going, and it takes up our time, but we love doing it, but it is a lot of effort. So it would be really appreciative if, you would be, basically supporting the Magic in the Midwest podcast.
And what do you get when you become a Bandcamp subscriber?
You get double the episodes.
Double.
Like, we definitely give you way more content.
Quite frankly, I feel like those extra podcasts that you get, the ones that are Bandcamp subscriber exclusives,
yeah.
They're really funny.
They are very funny. They're very hot topics, hot takes, fun stuff. I was just looking at Harrison's birthday cards.
Christmas
Is that
cards?
Okay? Is that all right? Can I not look at his freaking
No,
birthday cards over here?
Whoa.
Huh?
I was looking
What's
to see... Are you going to stop and let me answer? So I'm not even going to go through this.
All right, anyway.
I didn't know what you were looking at. I was just curious. I turned around.
Yeah, I'm looking at... Yeah.
The resting bee face, I can't help. It's just
I
there.
know, that's true.
It's not...
You definitely have a resting bee face.
Thank you.
It's just part of your...
Hashtag
People don't like
slid.
you at first.
They don't like me at first?
No, I don't think you give a good...
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think you give a good first impression.
I kind of grow on people.
You're a grower. I am, like, immediately...
A shower?
You're a grower. I'm immediately... People love me immediately. So...
No, I feel like they're forced to behave that way because you're so in their face with your giant face.
Right. And also, if you guys, right now, things are starting to pick up, at least as far as the travel industry, with news of vaccines, and the idiot almost forgot again. So, Ash, tell us where people can go.
You?
Where can people go? No. Where can people go?
Supportive.
If they want to have expert advice besides us, where they go to help get their books.
I can't help you plan your vacation.
Their travel plans booked.
I don't have the patience. It requires a lot to help someone plan their vacation. And we know someone super great. Her name is Emily. We met her through the podcast. She's awesome.
Yes.
She is a vacation planner that specializes in Disney and Universal, but she can book all travel, including cruises and all-inclusive resorts at no cost to you. And she can help you with all the little things that go along with that, dining, fast passes, and she will also monitor for savings. She can hook you up with airport transfers and also create an customized itinerary for your family and more. So check her out for a no obligation quote. You can reach her via email at emily@magicalmousetravel.com. And she is awesome, guys. Her and I have become good friends, and we text about Disney stuff and Universal stuff, and like I always say, Mickey waffle makers, and she's super cool. So reach out to her if you have any questions or are looking to book a trip.
Yes. Emily at Magical Mouse Travel. All right, good. So, check that out, guys. And then, we just, what was I going to say? Today, we're going to actually continue our journey through our short, but full of rich detail, Disney trip that we took in January.
Yeah, last episode got a little, part 2 got a little intense because JB was sharing really stupid opinions about things.
Ashley doesn't understand.
Actually, everyone I talked to that listened to it agreed with me.
No, that's so silly. Everyone you talk to, the people that are biased towards you.
No, I don't think anyone's biased towards me.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
People generally like you
Middle
better.
Middle child syndrome. All right, so
Baby of the family.
Anyway, so
I gotta start recording my facial expressions. I feel like Jim in The Office. The camera pans over.
Right. Okay, so after we were done with Rise of the Resistance,
so it was our day. We gotta wrap up.
Yeah,
wrap up. Day one. We went to Hollywood Studios. We left the park around 3 or
4:50, 4:45, 4:30.
Yeah.
We left. And after we got off Rise, I debated in my head, should I go get a droid or go get the lightsaber? I was like, I don't know what to do. Should I just wait to do that when it's a little less, restrictive with COVID? So I did walk into the Droid Depot, and man, I mean, it's really kind of cool. You could actually put a chip in there, and it'll do sorts of it'll respond to your voice commands, the droid and everything. You could build your own droid and of course build your own lightsaber. So those were the couple of the experiences that we did not be able to do, but I did walk in there.
But we opted not to do them.
Yeah, we opted not to do them because, at that point, okay, I'm just going to get this out of the way. So this is weird. So this is something that I'm interested to see what Ashley thinks, surprisingly. And I'm also
shocked.
excited to see what you guys think. So in my DNA, baked into my DNA, my mother Irene sort of planned, the way we structured our Disney trips was always the same, and it always worked very well. And it always was, I think, in many ways, still the best way to do things, especially in the middle of the hot summer. If you're going in the hot summer into Central Florida. But we did something different this time because not only are the parks closing earlier, okay, but we also, we were staying at the Contemporary, and we had to take the bus, from the Contemporary back to Magic Kingdom, or
quick
from
note,
the studios.
Yeah, for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, or haven't listened to a lot of the earlier podcasts, you should explain how it was different, what we normally do.
Right, I'm about to.
Well, it didn't seem like it. It was super long.
Okay, so because I'm telling a story.
It's not a story.
I'm dangling the carrot.
No one wants to have the carrot dangled. Just say it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so anyway, so usually, so we decided we're just going to stay at studios all day and get everything we want to get done and just enjoy the day.
Versus what?
Versus what we normally do and what has been. Oh my gosh!
Get there!
Let me
dude.
just.
Oh my gosh!
Tell this
Say it then.
Anyway, this is terrible, you
Is it?
guys.
Can I
This is
drink
terrible.
at
Can someone help me?
11:28?
Call the hotline, please.
You still haven't said what we normally
Call the
do.
hotline. She's abusive. Anyway,
I'm gonna
so
become more abusive.
so we usually, and this is what I mean. I was ever since I was little. When I would go to Disney, we would take a break in the middle of the day. We would go into the park early, get a bunch of stuff done, enjoy the morning, and just kind of get on things, that most people still, even to this day, most people still get to the parks
Like 10.
at like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Okay. And unless there's some sort of morning event, which
That's a whole other
throws
thing.
the whole wrench into that, but that's a different story. But yeah, so like we're used to like going in and like getting stuff done and then being like, we're going to go take a break, go swim, go take a nap at the resort. We opted not to do that this time for a number of reasons. And I mean, it's literally just like gut reaction in DNA because I'm used to doing it a different way. But I did feel weird doing it that way.
I didn't like it.
I didn't like it either.
And you know what? To be fair, we know a lot of people that do it
Stay
that
in the
way.
park
That
all
stay in the
day.
park all day.
Yeah.
Part of it's just what
you're
you
used
like
to.
to do
Right.
and what you have the tolerance for. Everyone that knows me knows that my tolerance is set very low for everything. And I know that we've talked about this before, but the reason, I think a big reason that I enjoy Disney so much is because of the way that JB and his family does Disney. That was huge for me when we went together. That's how we did it.
Yeah.
We went in the morning, we had a break, and then we went back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even though it was January and it wasn't super hot, we had amazing weather. It was not humid, like mid 70s during the day, high 60s, low 70s at night. It was perfect. We actually ended up doing our normal thing the next day at Magic Kingdom, but it sort of fell together that way. It wasn't really planned. And that day was so much more enjoyable in terms of the flow.
Yeah.
I think if it's something that you can do, I would advise trying to do the two parts. But yeah, I definitely felt kind of like once we hit like 2:00, I felt
Fatigued.
well, fine, but I could tell we were out of our normal
Yes,
flow. I
yes.
was just sort of like, okay, what do we do now? Like,
Right.
do we just go full on until it closes? Or, because at some point, and I feel like you have to admit this if you're one of those people that stays out all day, that you kind of hit a point where it becomes less enjoyable, at least for a period of time, because you're,
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're nonstop. You're not really.
And we didn't even experience like high level crowds because capacity is
But it just
way
still
down.
felt that
But
way.
I just was like, okay, I'm over it.
Right. I mean, we still had a great time, and that wasn't it. But it did feel strange being there, like in the mid-afternoon. Like it just felt strange. Like I was like, this is usually not what we're doing.
The
not what
latest we're
used
usually
to.
in the park is usually like 2, and that's only if we have like a later fast pass in the morning that we couldn't get for earlier. But usually it's around
We usually
noon
even skip those.
that we're
Right.
out.
Yeah.
Once in a while we'll be in the park a little bit later, but
Yeah, so it felt a little off for us. Also, it just felt off not like sweating profusely and just being
I
in the
loved
heat.
that part.
Right. It was the weather was, we had a really nice day the first day. The second day wasn't as good, but the first day was really nice. So it did feel, now for people that are locals and live down there, like that's what they normally do, or they go in for a couple hours and they leave, like it's totally different situation, but for us, it was definitely different. Even it was different not only from a temperature standpoint, weather standpoint, but also just like the flow of our normal schedule, which was, like take it easy. See, like that's what I think. There's a little bit of a misnomer for some people. Like, I think people, when you tell them you're a Disney person and you tell them that you like to go to Disney, some people like balk in their head and go, that's just too much, but like, it really isn't when you do it the way we do it, because we take breaks. We kind of allow ourselves to relax Whereas some people feel because they're spending all that money, we're not leaving the park.
And you
Why
can't
would we
not
possibly
do
leave the park?
anything.
Which is fine if you want to do that. Way.
Totally, it's totally fine.
But for us, really, I mean, we do plan for a lot of relaxation. Guys, Disney has these beautiful resorts and pools for a reason. You know, we do use them, right? I think in a good way.
And you know what? Right now, I think during this time, it's different the way you vacation there, for sure. But I also will say that mathematically, for me, it's less about trying to do everything. Because honestly, I don't even know if you can, if you tried to do everything in a Disney trip, like every single ride in Magic Kingdom itself.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could do every single thing you want to do in a day, or you know what I mean? To me, I'd rather just say, we're not going to do everything. I just know that going in. And it's more about quality of time in the park. Like, you know, we reach that point at noon where we've been in there and it's starting to get really hot and we leave. And I feel like we were, not that we needed to be justified, but we've talked about this before. We were there with your family and your sisters decided to stay out during that break.
Yeah.
And they did like 2 things.
Yeah.
In that 5 hours.
Yeah.
That's it. And they like grabbed lunch and it was super exhausting and they were pretty irritated and frustrated by the time we met back up with them after we had been rested and in air conditioning. And you realize like those 5 hours are those super busy times in the park. It's the hottest part of the day. And they were kind of miserable by the time we...
Yes.
And we were kind of more ready to stay out that night because we had rested, and you know, one of your sisters was like, "I'm going, going back. That's it.
I'm done." Yeah,
you know, so something to think about if you're someone that has a hard time staying out, and it kind of gives you that little extra oomph for when they are doing nighttime shows to be, you know, not so irritated when those come around. Because some of our friends, one of my friends that goes, they stay out all day, but they don't even make it to the nighttime shows because they're so tired.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
I mean, you really do. Like, there are ways for you to, you know, approach Disney in a way that does allow for, you know, some people, and this, you know. And this is totally fine. This is not a knock on anybody. Some people can just stay on like a lake and just sit there all the time, the whole day. I would lose my mind unless I was like writing a book or something.
I mean, we can do it for a couple days.
I could do that type of thing for a couple days. Mm-hmm. But then after that, I'm like, okay, I'm bored. Like I'm literally bored. You know, you can do sort of both of those things. Like sometimes people like have an entire day in the middle of their trip where they don't go to a park at all and they just do resort stuff and just
We've done
chill.
that with longer stays, like when we went with my parents a few years ago. I don't know if there was a day we didn't go into the parks.
But there was days where we took whole half days.
Yeah,
didn't
so
go to
like
a park
we
at
went
all.
into a park from like 8 to 12, and then we came back and we didn't go back into a park.
Right.
We went swimming, we went out to dinner,
Right.
we walked on the boardwalk and got ice cream and had a great time.
Yes.
And that kind of refreshes you for the next day, especially on those longer trips.
Yeah. So I mean, it's something. You know that's for us for this day one of our trip. We did have like a little bit of like that, like just kind of we were out of sorts in some ways. But you know, whatever. To each their own. It was fine. We still had a great time. So after we left Hollywood Studios, we you know, as I was in Galaxy's Edge, I was like, Ash, what should we do for dinner? And we had heard from many different podcasters and reviewers and dining blogs and stuff that the Wave at the Contemporary, which is inside, like basically on the first floor of the Contemporary, right next to where you check in to the lobby desk, not the Grand Canyon Concourse, but the very first floor. The Wave of, you know, Contemporary American Flavors or something is what it's called. And we heard that the dinners there and the food there was great. So Ash and I, like, literally, this is like just gives you an indication when you go in January how easy things are. So at like 4:40, I checked the app and I was like, oh, do you want to make a reservation for like 5:45 because it was open? They were like, yeah, let's do it. So we did it. We hit it on the park, you know, the My Disney Experience app and and got into the Wave. And it was, really, fantastic. So we went down there. It was like, it's also like, there it is. Always, always. The bomb. We got back and we kind of chilled for like, I don't know, maybe a half hour at the resort, at our room, at the Contemporary. And then, got down to the Wave, and we went and sat, and it was distanced, right? You didn't feel like you were packed in and right next to somebody.
No, the tables were super spaced out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's how it normally is, but they were, I mean, they could have had people at every table, and they would have been like 10 or 15 feet away from us.
Right. So now the Wave, like the price scale, the highest entree was $34. And that was the grilled beef tenderloin.
That's not even bad.
No, it's actually probably in the range of the 2 to 3 money signs.
Money signs.
So yeah, we get to the Wave. It was really relaxed. I think the person I feel like the hostess was a little like on edge, because we were there, but like they sent me. I feel like they sent me like 12. Your reservation is ready. Like, you're ready. And I was like,
I know, they didn't even give us
guys,
any time
I'm just
to like
walking down.
We're coming. Jeez.
It was kind of intense. So we get down there and they sit us, and we were sitting sort of in the back, and it's kind of, I would say the Wave is sort of like, if the inside of it is what, like kind of like darker toned.
Yeah.
The reason why I call it the Wave, like the ceiling has like wavy wooden fixtures, so it has like this wave element to it. So it kind of felt like an oaky kind of like woodsy, like, but still contemporary. Like you would find this kind of restaurant in like Santa Barbara or something in California. Like it's just the very California motif, basically. Because obviously upstairs is California Grill, which one day we'll go to. But yeah, so it just kind of felt like that way, which is it is what it is. So we got in, and then our waiter comes by, right? Yeah, and he was pretty funny. He was like sweating because he had he was a bigger guy, and he had like the double mask on and the face mask. So he had the mask, the like N95 thing on his mouth, and then over his head he had the plastic shield face mask, which I get, right? But you could tell he was struggling inside there. Like you could see the sweat on his forehead and stuff. And he came up, and I'm pretty sure, because they didn't have physical menus.
Right.
There you had to do the scan thing with your phone, which is
like
normal.
the QR code or
whatever.
The
QR code. So he's like, didn't he say like, there's the code to stay on your frickin' menu or something like that?
See, but I think he was actually like, you know how sometimes you go to say something and then you change which word you're going to say mid-sentence? And if like frickin', I think was a combination of like 2 words where he couldn't decide. I don't even know if that's what he said, but that's what it sounded like. And between like the sweat on his forehead and like how he seemed a little out of sorts, it was just we all cracked up, and then he cracked up, and then every time he came back to the table we couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny.
Yeah, and like for some reason the guy was like, you guys are great. Like he was like you guys are really, like, this is fun. Like he actually like really appreciated our kind of relaxed humor, and but it was funny because I like cried. Like I was like, he said frickin', and I was just like, I can't
because it was like, have you guys seen the frickin' menu?
Yeah, here's your frickin' menu. Welcome to Disney World. But it was
so funny.
It was really funny.
Maybe it is what he meant to say. I don't know.
Maybe it was a very pleasant like dining experience. Like it was chill in there. It was chill. It was very chill in there. It was very nice.
I liked the vibes in there.
Yeah, it was good vibes. Good vibes. And like, geez, I had the pork tenderloin. And it was fantastic.
Yeah, you went on and on about that coffee barbecue sauce.
Yeah, that coffee barbecue sauce, you guys, was like just so good. I was like, this is crazy how good this is. Like, I was like, this like, of course, the pork tenderloin was well cooked, right? It was it wasn't pink or anything, um, and it just tasted really good. And then that coffee barbecue sauce, I was just like raving about because I was just like, I've never tasted something this yummy. So that was fantastic, and the smoked cheddar grits were also really good. So like this combination of these grits. I think the combo of the grits and the coffee barbecue. I think maybe the grits was the thing I was probably most enamored with because of just cheese and goodness and
Oh yeah.
warmth. But yeah, it was warmth. So the pork tenderloin was very delicious, and then it had some roasted broccolini and then chermoula. How do you say that? I don't know. And then you had the chicken breast, right?
No, I had the
Or you had beef tenderloin.
I had the beef tenderloin, which was also very, very good.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how to say the potato gratin, is
Mhm.
that it? Which was also cheesy potato goodness.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't eat all of just because, of course I'm lactose intolerant and can't enjoy cheese. But I took a few bites and it was amazing. You had
yeah.
a few bites of it.
Mhm.
But I was very happy with the beef tenderloin. It was cooked really well, very juicy, and
Yeah.
no complaints from me. And then Harrison
The
had the
cheeseburger.
cheeseburger.
Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
He destroyed it.
Which we'll get to this in a little bit, but I'm not going to go fully into it, but we ate at Be Our Guest the second night, and by far I feel like this meal was better.
Oh my
the
gosh.
Wave.
Way better.
Now I know ambiance wise, right? You're getting something out of Be Our Guest that you're not getting
Yes.
at the Wave. It's also designed that way. Food wise though, the Wave 100% knocked Be Our Guest out of just 100% better.
It was. It was way better. Now, yeah. So, well, yeah. I mean, seriously, way. Like
Harrison loves characters, but he's not like a huge character guy. Maybe at some point he will be. I think he enjoyed seeing the Beast, but he was perfectly happy at the Wave. Some kids may not be. I don't know. It was not super loud in there.
Harrison
that's something
is
to
like
think
you.
about.
He's more introverted in the
Yeah.
way, so he was happy. Not...
he's a little bit older. He can sit there and enjoy a kid's meal and not, we're not at the point where he's like 2 and in a high chair or anything. So he can kind of go to a more quiet restaurant and we're fine at this point.
Yeah.
But he had a great time there. And I think I also got a margarita and I think you had a beer. The margarita I had was super strong. Really great.
Yeah.
But the food was really good. I 100% would recommend the Wave, especially for the price point.
Yeah.
And the quality of the food you're getting. If you're looking for more of a low-key, quieter dinner outside of the parks where you want to take a break from the chaos, you could hop over to the Contemporary, even if you're not staying there.
Right.
And see, if you can get a reservation. Obviously you might want to check before, but it's a great option.
Yeah, it really is. It's a great option, and it also... it's a great option. It also is, you could walk there from Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
You could just walk over to the Contemporary on the walkway, or it's, a monorail ride. It's one of those things where like people, unless you're maybe at the Contemporary, you won't think to go there. But I highly recommend it. So what you could do is, maybe you don't get into Be Our Guest. I'm telling you right now, look for the Wave, because the Be Our Guest is still one of the most popular,
you're not
destinations.
Be Our Guest, obviously, the ambiance in there. What you're not getting, the Wave is beautiful, but it's not visually like the spectacle of things where you walk in. It's nice, it's beautiful, like I said, but it's not really about the aesthetic a ton.
No.
Whereas, I think a lot of people want to go to Be Our Guest simply because it's the dining room from Beauty and the Beast and the whole thing. But if you're going for food, which we will review maybe this time if we get to it, we did eat there this last time and we weren't super impressed with the food. But yeah, the Wave is a great option.
Yeah, it is. It is
really great.
So do you want to go talk about our Magic Kingdom day now, or do you want to go just right to Be Our Guest, or what are you thinking?
Let's go. I guess, you know what, maybe let's just stay in the dining. Let's talk about Be Our Guest.
Okay. So then the next night, and we, were able to, let's see. We were able to get Be Our Guest reservations. This is again January. We were able to get them like a month or so before, which is not
Kind of
common.
like when we booked the trip.
Right, not common.
No.
Yeah. So now, Ash and I have been there 3 total times. The third time was definitely was the worst time.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that doesn't mean worst, like it's bad. I mean, it isn't bad. It's still good. But like we went when Beer Guest first opened. Ash and I, like our very first trip.
Yeah.
We went in, your very first trip. And we had just a great meal. Like it was not a prefixed menu at that point.
No.
Like it was just order like a normal restaurant. Order and get whatever you want. I had the pork chop. It was fantastic.
I think I did too.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And because it wasn't prefixed, the price was lower.
Yeah.
So like it did not cost nearly as much. Ash and I, for 3 people, dropped $200 on their latest Be Our Guest dinner. Like
and
with
I had
tip,
one
200.
glass of wine. It wasn't
Right.
like there was like, we had 8 drinks between the two of us or anything.
Now with the prefixed menu, you do get a full 3-course meal. I mean, you get it's like all inclusive. So like you are getting an appetizer. You got to choose from a prefixed menu of 4 or 5 different appetizers. You also will get your entree. It just depends on whatever entree you want to get. And then you also do get dessert. And the dessert's probably the best part. I mean, it does have some, like, they have, like, give you, like, 4 or 5.
100% the dessert's the best part.
Yeah. They give you, like, 4 or 5, or, different desserts. And everybody gets all 4 or 5 desserts. Like, you get it on a little plate, and you're able to, like, test out and eat all of it. That's definitely the coolest part of the whole thing. Obviously, like Ashley said, you're in Beast Castle, right? You're in the, so you do get that whole experience.
We got to sit next to the windows where you could see it was snowing.
Yeah.
And that was super cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was beautiful inside, and our waiter was good. Something I've noticed is that Ash and I tend to have like an effect on people. Like I feel like we disarm. Like I'm not saying like we're like I mean we are amazing, but I mean, but I feel like we do disarm people. Like we kind of let them have like their guard down a little bit and kind of relax.
Yeah, people like start telling us about their like home
Yeah,
problems and like they do. They go like further than you think they're going to. You're like, okay.
Yeah, like this guy, our waiter was great, but he definitely was just talking about his like collection of beer in his garage that he keeps away from his wife, and like it was just funny. Like it was just like we kind of just let people. But yeah, it was good. Okay, yeah, no, it was good though. It was good. So, that was fun. But I mean, I'll say my filet was really good. I mean, but it was a filet. There was nothing really more to it.
Look it up.
You know what I mean? The filet was yummy, but I mean, it honestly did not. Was
it? I mean, compare it to your dinner from the Wave, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I think the Waves dinner was much tastier, but it still was a solid filet. You know what I mean? It wasn't bad in any way.
Okay.
So yeah, something to, I liked it. But then of course you have the ambiance of the and the Beast comes out a couple times, and and he but this time he's distanced. You can't take pictures really with him. He just kind of walks around,
which is just the nature of what's going on right now.
Right, the nature of what's going on right now. But we did take Harrison over into the West Wing, and he got to see the Rose inside, which is still a really cool effect that they have inside there. So he did get to see the Rose, which is fantastic. Yeah, so I mean, it was really a cool experience, to be honest. So,
all right, this is what I want to say.
Okay.
So the prefix menu is, I'm not a huge fan of it. I felt like the appetizers, in terms of what you're getting to choose from, I got the mixed green salad, which was really good. But there's only, not everyone loves salad. And then they had French onion soup. And then they had this, like, meat and cheese board, which was, like, I was surprised that it wasn't kind of more catered to like people in general. Like, it was kind of had these cheeses that, maybe someone that's like really into cheeses
Yeah.
would like. And then there was like 2 walnuts and 4 grapes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just wasn't. I feel like you got to go more mainstream when you're talking about a restaurant that everyone wants reservations to, that's also about kids and also in the middle of Magic Kingdom Fantasyland.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
it
just
is
my
key.
opinion.
It's
okay,
yeah.
And I felt like the choices for Harrison's appetizers were also just not hitting the mark for kids.
No, yeah.
He also had this weird cheese plate that
He
was
didn't-
not at all like, to me, like, kids just want crackers and cheese. If you're gonna go that route, just do regular cheese and regular crackers, whatever that means. I feel like we all know what that means.
No,
And it was kind of just, I don't know, like maybe a kid that has some refined palate would like it, but I mean, he was sort of like, over it. So my salad was good, but again, not everyone likes salad. I don't think you were crazy about your cheese board that you got, and you like cheese.
No.
The entree, I think I got the pork tenderloin, and the presentation was really neat, but in terms of taste, I didn't really get that much food, which, the entree by itself is $62.
Yeah.
So it was like 2 little tiny pieces of pork.
Yeah.
And then some carrots, I think, or sweet potatoes.
Yeah, you
I don't
did not. You
remember,
were not
but it was like
thrilled.
very small amounts. Which I'm paying $62. You're getting me these little tiny pieces of pork. I mean, they were like really small pieces.
Yeah.
The taste was just sort of bland, and it wasn't bad. I just, for what you're paying, and for what we had experienced there before,
Right.
to me, it was a disappointment.
Yeah.
And Harrison's entrees, what he got to pick from, were also a disappointment for me.
Like that mac and cheese was
he
terrible.
got mac and cheese.
It was not
First
good.
of all, most kids want like Kraft or whatever. This mac and cheese
It just didn't
was
taste good.
not good.
Yeah.
JB and I both tasted it. It was not good. He didn't really eat it, and it came with sweet potato fries, which weren't even fries. They were just these soggy pieces of sweet potato. Like, to me, either mash them up or make them crispy.
Yeah.
Kids don't want soft wedges of sweet potato.
No.
They want like dipped in fat,
Right.
crispy
Fried.
fries.
Right.
Fries. They're kids. So Harrison didn't really eat his meal,
Yeah, we
and I
kinda
don't blame him because it
wasted a lot of money.
didn't look
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So I'll be honest. I think Royal Table
Beer Guest is
right
the new
now
Royal Table.
is better. I think. Like, because although we haven't been there in a couple of years.
We haven't been there. And here's
But-
why. I tend to agree with you, and here's why. The interaction at Royal Table, which I don't know what it's like right
the
now, but I
character
mean, the
interaction.
character interaction is
Top-notch.
amazing.
Yeah.
I
And
was
you're in
not
the castle.
super impressed with the food when we were there for what it cost.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience, and we were there with our niece who was at the prime age for
Right,
meeting
right.
the Disney princesses and stuff, and
Princesses
that was really awesome to see.
Yeah.
Plus, you're in the castle. Be Our Guest, I feel like, is the new Royal Table, and that now everyone wants to go there, and so they're just like, we don't have to come up with these great
sort
options.
of is like it is a situation where you're rolling pretty quick too. Like, they kind of keep things rolling
And you know what,
fast
you
because
guys,
they have a lot of
you don't
reservations.
have to, it's not all about kids, but you go in there, it's loud. There's a lot of kids in there. It's super loud in there. To me, you have to have things like chicken fingers or cheeseburgers. Like, nothing like that was on the menu.
No,
You
no.
got to have more stuff that generally kids like. To me, that's a miss. I
Yeah.
will happily pay you $30 if you're going to give my kid chicken nuggets,
Right.
and he's going to be happy.
Yeah.
Not these fake sweet potato soggy wedges. It was gross.
Yeah, so I did feel like when we were there that, like, as the meal wore on, I was like, well, I'm probably not gonna do this again.
No, that's
Like,
honestly how I feel.
and I don't know if that's on purpose or what, but I definitely was like, okay, I've done this 3 times. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of other places to eat. There are many other places to eat on Disney property and in the parks that are, better. I feel like Be Our Guest is designed for the people that one and done, right? They come into Disney, they do the experience, and then they leave. But
I was disappointed.
I feel like they do need to improve that menu.
Well, and they can do it well because we've been there when they have. And I
when
know
it
a lot
first
of people
started, it
want to
was
go,
great.
and I get it because it's super awesome in
Yeah.
there. It is.
And
But I think, isn't there a different situation for breakfast or lunch? Can't you do like something that's a little bit more like a...
Yeah, I think breakfast, like, it's more relaxed. Like, you could just, I think they still have a prefix menu, but it is open for breakfast. It wasn't always open for breakfast, so that kind of got added later. Like when it first opened, it was just.
I
dinner.
get wanting to go in there, but I'm here to tell you that if you don't get a reservation,
It's
there,
okay.
It's
really okay.
It's really not a big deal.
Right. It's a cool spot. I mean, to see it and experience it once is fine. But yeah, not super worth it, to be honest. So all right, Ash. So what would you give the
We
wave?
should talk about the dessert real fast.
Yeah.
I know we did a little bit, but that was maybe the only redeeming, like, super cool part where Harrison's actually had, like, he got a plate with a few different things, and one of them was a white chocolate version of Chip, the cup.
Yeah.
And then he had, like, these little edible, like, what looked like paint, like red paint, blue paint, yellow paint that he could eat, and he got, like, a paintbrush and he could paint the cup, which was really cool. That was really neat. He loved that part.
Yeah.
I thought that was really sweet. And the desserts were all knocked it out of the park. They were all really good.
Oh yeah.
But the entrees, my entree wasn't crazy about. My appetizer was good, but again, I feel like they need to have another good option besides a salad for people. Like, a cheese plate needs to be a little bit more accessible to people than like these strange cheeses with a walnut and a grape. Like,
Right.
They need to do a little bit more for people that are paying $8 million to dine there.
Yeah.
So my rating for both, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Do rate Wave and rate Be Our Guest. Those were the two dinners we had.
Wave, I'm going to give a 9.
Okay.
Food was excellent. Our waiter was really cool. The drink was really good. Service was great. I'm not, the only reason I'm dinging it is because I think they could do a little bit more inside.
Decorative,
like,
yeah.
But that's not a huge deal. I would definitely go back. I would definitely recommend it to others.
Yes.
Be Our Guest, or why don't you go next?
No, you could keep going.
No, I want you to go.
All right, so I was going to give the Wave a 9 as well. The meal was great. Yeah, it's not the most exciting restaurant aesthetically, but the food was fantastic. The service was great. Definitely a 9. I'm going to give it a 9 because, again, I think aesthetically the experience could be slightly better. But, I mean, other than that, we didn't have any dessert or anything either, so I can't really speak to that. But from what I did have, it's definitely up there. It's definitely
I want
a
you
9.
to go first for Be Our Guest.
Be Our Guest. Okay, so Be Our Guest, because of the nature of it, when I first went, I would have probably given it a 10.
Mm-hmm.
The very first
Me
time, it was
too.
a 10 experience. It was amazing. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, only because the price did not match my satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great filet, but you could get other fillets other places, and have it not be that expensive. So I'm going to give it a 6 because I did feel like I don't know. I feel like when you are paying that much money, you should still have a choice, and the prefix sort of like it limits your options a lot.
Yeah.
And I get it because it's so popular that they're trying to just like hammer
Control
down
certain things.
How fast they could do it, and I get it. It's a moneymaker for them. But yeah, I would say a 6. Their service was really good. The guy was on top of things.
Yeah.
That was not bad, but the food and the price did not match my satisfaction. So there you go. Mm-hmm. What do you give it?
I was actually teetering between a 5 and a 6, and I feel like you're right with 6, so I'm going to go with that too.
Yeah.
I was just disappointed for how much money we spend, and to me, I think part of it's just the kind of person you are too. Some people will pick to eat at character locations or places like Be Our Guest, regardless of the food, because they want the ambiance
Yes,
and that's
yeah.
what they value, and they want that for their kids, or their kids really like it. I am not that way as
Yeah.
much. I mean, I'll do that once in a while, but to me, it's got to live up to, your people are paying that much money. You need to do a better job.
Yeah.
And I think the options could be better, especially
Yeah.
for how many kids eat there. They
Yeah.
should just have better choices for kids.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with 6. Also, it is one of those things
Still
where
beautiful
I would,
inside. And,
when it
yeah.
comes to the 2 restaurants, I would definitely tell people the Wave is great. I would tell someone if they didn't get a reservation to Be Our Guest, it is not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
not.
Well, here's the other thing, too. It's like, what do you value? Do you value the environment, characters, Beauty and the Beast, if that's your favorite movie? Definitely go to Be Our Guest. You know what I mean? Definitely. It captures the film experience really well.
I mean, it is super cool. And I
You know-
understand that if you have younger kids and they're, you don't want to be worried about them being loud or whatever, Be Our Guest is a great option because it's super crazy loud in there.
Right.
Whereas the Wave, I mean, I think it would be fine. But
Yeah.
I think Harrison was the only child like under 17.
Right.
in
Right.
the rest.
So yeah, the Wave is, if you're an adults, the Wave, I guess. If you have, if you're, I guess it just depends. on
But I
what
mean,
you
I
wanna
also
do.
feel like there are a lot of great character dining experiences that you could get
Elsewhere.
if you didn't get Be Our
Right.
Guest.
Oh
that
yeah,
are, that
Artist
are really
Point,
great.
Disney's Wilderness Lodge.
Mhm.
Artist Point has all the Snow White characters, and so yeah, lots of options. But those were the things that we did and experienced on our impromptu weekend getaway. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, remember, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google, not Google, Deezer. I don't think it's Google. Yeah. Spotify, everywhere you can download the podcast, please do so. Also, check us out on bandcamp.com. Magic in the Midwest podcast at bandcamp.com. And if you need anything insurance-wise or anything, please let me know. I could quote you guys, and maybe help you save some money there.
Life insurance. Everyone needs life insurance.
Yeah, that's that's been skyrocketing. Like a lot of people have been worried about that with everything happening.
Yeah.
So it is really kind of a nice. I think it's it's a selfless product. Put it that way.
Mhm.
You're really
Taking care of your loved
family.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you guys want to check that out, please let me know. Just reach out to us, either Magic in the Midwest podcast at gmail.com or whatever. There's ways to get a hold of us. So, all right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, from the Midwest. See you later.